before, so it was really kind of shaky, and it was still kind of getting its teeth in. I had no idea the immense backlash that it did. It's like, whoa. But I learned that from that review. The tag in that review, right? I sort of went in the wrong direction, or I kind of went after the fans a little bit. I was like, why is there a fan site about this? And I can't read the wrong approach. See, I've kind of distilled it to, you can say what you like about the movie, but keep it about the movie. Don't go off topic, don't go about the people too much, don't go about the people behind the scenes too much. Just say, don't attack the fans of the movie, that makes you look like a dick.
Yeah.
Good question.
Right back one.
Anyone else?
Aaron?
Yeah. One of the aspects I've found about internet movie reviewing is that if you have fun, like watching a movie and actually mocking it, and perhaps you can get good material out of making the review. And usually, you guys watching the review will have fun watching it. But is there a review that you're the most satisfied with, that you really think a lot of people will enjoy as well? This is for all of you besides
Probably like Caligula or Cannibal Holocaust. Stuff like I Spit on Your Grave, being able to make like a 20-minute comedy sketch out of the first 20 minutes of that movie is challenging. The stuff that I get to play around with and kind of do some sketch work with, I usually tend to be pretty satisfied with.
My one, I'd say probably my sex cat review. Oh, you got fun over there. Good. A lot of stuff worked in that, and I'm usually very critical of my own stuff, and that one sort of sucked the least.
I was always pretty proud of my Robot Jocks review. But on top of that, I did Zombie Apocalypse 2012, and me and my team shot some parody scenes basically to go in the middle of it, and a lot of people actually thought those were scenes from the movie.
But we got into the Satan, right? You came to the one with Satan. Correct.
In terms of being proud of my work, I sort of vary from that. Sometimes when I put up, this is going to be great, and sometimes when I put something like this is shit, and I worry about it. So it kind of varies for me.
Well, lately I've been in a really perfectionist mood, which is why I've been releasing stuff that's like 30, 40 minutes long, which I should never do, just works for short for me. But I think that the last one I thought out was well. But some of the other stuff, I think what I did with the Serbian film. I knew it was like phonetically terrible. It was an automatic punchline in and of itself, and I actually learned a lot in making that thing. I learned a lot about Serbia. I never thought I could. And I think that's probably going in a different direction, because before I was just making those fun jokes, and then I realized that I've got a lot out of, not only for myself, but also for my audience, out of just trying to give the movie a fair shake and do some shit. And plus, I think the end joke is fun. My dad actually works for me, though. So having the ending where I call native on Serbia. I don't know if my dad like showed that to his colleagues, like how to put it. I don't know.
I'm quite proud of the sit-down reviews that I did. Ironically, the increasing laziness of squeezing out counting of voice doubles, the body doubles, it just got to farcical levels. One of this, I was just editing the review and I was like, hang on, that shot was really stretched. They just stretched the shot to try and see how it looked thinner. It's really hard. But I was quite proud of that. I'm actually quite, I would say that I'm most proud of my crossovers actually. Because I really enjoy doing these collaborations. I like working with another person. I tend to work better. I would agree with the people that tend to say that I work better with other people. I would agree with that. But by myself, sometimes I'm not really sure what I can do by myself. But when you're with when you've got a tag team, basically, it means that you can sort of divide the load in it. And I think I can write crossovers reasonably well, so it shows off the strength of both myself and the collaborators. And so it's a lot of fun. So for example, I really love the people on the couch.
I don't know if it's one of the more popular ones. I'm happy now we'll have them for ignoring and scan out.
Every day there will be a different like a need more straight. Last one was from Spike Club, which I'm pretty proud of, and I got to sing it.
Yeah.
How did you end up deciding to reveal like the exploitation movies and like the point of did you end up getting into that?
How did I want to do like exploit? Because ever since I was a kid, been a big exploitation guy, been a horror guy, so it just worked out for me that the genre that I wanted to do in my particular show is one that I would be watching anyway. These are all movies I'd be watching anyway. Well, most of them are movies I'd be watching anyway. So it just kind of worked out for me like that.
Anything for Phantasma or for Twitch? I'm going to be doing Left Behind 2 and 3 finally.
Looking forward to, it's going to be a couple of months, but getting the Islander and absolutely cause them to shit.
I'm really looking forward to that too.
This is actually about a series that I'm planning. Starting on April 23rd, going through to the May 23rd, I'm finally doing Shakespeare Month. Covering a very wide range, like from things like About You to A Midsummer Night's Dream. I'm doing George Jarman's best.
Well, I know that I'm really looking forward to doing the projector review on Tinkerbell the Pirate Fairy. I'm going to do a Good Day to Die Hard. I'm going to do a crossover here on Texas Chainsaw 3D. And I'm going to do the Total Recall remake around the time when Rollercoaster comes out.
I'm doing the Bee Gees Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club. It opens with Sgt. Pepper's ending World War II. I mean, it only goes great from there.
Spider-Man 2, Transformers 4.
I'm doing Mean Girls fairly soon, and at some point I'm doing, only one with Mahal
skip the novelization of E.T. the porno. I'll mail it to you.
Pages might be a bit sticky.
How it's translated from book to screen and the whole process of the adaptation. But otherwise, I would say if you're looking at the movie, you're looking at the medium and the way the story's being told, it's on the thing. And unless you're specifically looking at how the actual adaptation works, then reading the book is kind of, well, you can say, well, this happened in the book, and this was like this in the book, but that doesn't matter. This is the movie, it's its own entity. You have to evaluate that.
What I agree with Nash, but years ago when I did my first Emmanuel review, I actually bought a copy of the novel that was based on, but not to read, just for a visual joke that didn't really work. But I still have it, and it's hilarious.
I don't necessarily read the book. There's a lot of things that are adapted from books in the sci-fi genre, but a lot of times I will do some research and at least get kind of the clip notes of what was happening, especially if I'm trying to figure out why. But something that's really weird that they just don't explain in the movie, it's like, well, maybe that was explained more in the book. I don't know.
I try to do about as much research as I can, and it's a very famous book. I think it's that book. There's just there's probably something worth referencing, but for the most part, I try to look at
I absolutely agree. I did read Cloud Atlas for the review of it because I wanted to see just why the movie didn't quite work. But usually, again, this is no reading, and again, usually it's mostly worth looking in the book if you want to see what was lost in the adaptation and what was gained, because they are very different from adaptation.
Yeah, I tend to have to look up what the book would look at. I tend to have to look up the book synopsis. Normally after I've seen the movie, I don't like to spoil myself too much before I see the movie, so I'll see the movie as a movie, and then I'll look up the synopsis of the book so I can compare, and normally the most significant differences can be attributed from there. So obviously, I have to read quite a few things recently based on books that are projected, like film, which is based on the Welsh novel, and How I Live Now. And the film that I knew was the book of film has sections of it written by a tapeworm inside the main character's gut, which obviously they had to change a little bit for the film because they had Jude Law with a massive brain. Just the other day, I was watching a movie where Jim Warben cross-dressed and had 3 arms. That was a weird shit. Yes. I was like, well, read the book synopsis. Oh, that's where the incest came from. But funny story, well back at this Street Fighter that shouldn't be. And I've never played a Street Fighter game ever, but I just put like a week into just reading up the Street Fighter movie. And I just read it from like top to bottom and then did the review. And no one had played, so I must have done a loss of
Reading takes like time and it's very similar to Alice movies. I read some of them, not all of them. I think I'm a little bit muddled as a result. So I want to, but it doesn't always work out that way. So I want to make it turn around.
Okay, anything for the group or anything for me?
Hey.
Is it top hat? You, beside your girl with green hair.
So I know you really don't like
I took a 9th Doctor or 10th Doctor. It's the 10th Doctor I really hate. The 9th Doctor I just don't, I don't really see him as the Doctor. I see him as the guy who wandered in and they mistook for the Doctor. There's a bunch of different episodes with them I do like. Just from the 9th Doctor one, Dalek in particular, is really, really good. And there's Tennant, you've got like Blink, you've got Midnight, you've got Turn Left, there are good episodes of New Who, it's just my New Who videos are dedicated to whining. So I don't really comment on how good some of them are, but I will eventually do a video of 10 episodes of New Who that I don't think are shit. And the one behind.
Okay. All right. Okay, so this was originally going to be a question for Brad, but I thought all of you would probably pitch on it. I know there's a debate on practical versus digital effects among movie buffs, and as someone who has dabbled with special effects a little bit and has friends in the industry, I just want to know what you guys think about the whole thing, or how digital effects can be made better, or just any of your thoughts on it.
I mean, a lot of people that I do stuff with get really kind of picky about that, like, and that they'll hate like anything that has CGI in it. I'm not. Like, I do prefer practical effects. Yeah, I think they're better. I like that it has weight to it and it actually looks like a physical object on screen. But I don't hate digital effects either. I think sometimes they look really well. It's also like practical that you have good examples of it. You have bad examples of it. Just the older stuff is. I think it looks better. It's what I grew up with. It just happens to be what I prefer.
Well, since I've been looking back at one of these, especially with Spectrum, I just saw a comic decisions come out, and I saw how they animated some out, and it was really good. But then I stopped and realized how much money. And then I looked back at Dragon's Lair, which had considerably, even adjusted, budget-wise, considerably lower budget. And even with that low budget, what they made with practical effects, they actually came up with a new form of stop motion that looked more fluid. It started in Dragon's Lair. And with that much less money, it looked comparable to something they spent, So that says to me, they can look good, but it takes a tremendous amount of time to get digital to equal just what they do.
It's something I've noticed from watching both the Hobbits in 48 frames and 24 frames is that usually digital doesn't look quite as good or weighty as practical. But if you watch them in 48 frames, honestly, digital begins to look more real than the practical. The practical stuff looks more staged and set. It looks like a play, and it doesn't look real. Like the practical effects in people's ears or hands are really noticeable. But CGI looks really good, and I don't know why that is, but it's something I find fascinating.
I think there are pluses and minuses to both. I mean, good digital looks good, bad practical effects looks like puppets, I think honestly the best is a good marriage of the two. When you're using something physical and you're using digital to enhance it, that's usually what I think ends up looking the best.
Well, there's probably some exceptions to this. My rule, at least in my mind, is always that you do it effectively with practical effects. And you should. You can't do it effectively with practical effects. And you try to CGI. My concern is always when I see a movie and Steve mentioned CGI, and it just looks awful. I think you could have used a model. You could have used a real animal in this scene instead of a cartoon. And sometimes the CGI looks amazing. It's beautiful, but sometimes it just feel like taking the wrong call.
Good effects look good. Bad effects look bad.
Well,
Sharknado like Jaws 4 looked cliche. Jaws 4 is charming as hell.
Can't remember the movie made it. Has anyone seen the story film? The documentary event? I want to say Mark Cousins. In the last episode, the one about filming in the 21st century, he made a very interesting comparison. He took a city of battle, blazing horses and people dancing in the streets, and it looked like a real city. There it was tangible. And he set that shot against a flyover scene from Gladiator, taking ancient Rome, recreated entirely on a computer, pointing out that the former was made with real risk. The wire was snapped, the crane could have stumbled. There was sweat and blood put into this gigantic set that became a Los Angeles landmark for years after the movie was made. While the opening shot of Gladiator was made by people working late hours, studying on computers, working, eating off of pizza for the late nights. There is something that goes in both. I think digital effects are a very powerful tool. They take a lot of risk at filming, but then again, they do take a lot of agility. I don't think that's a bad thing. I think it's a good thing. Again, it's a tool. It's how we use it. But then again, I think as we are moving farther and farther into purely digital filmmaking, what we can do, what is less risky to do, will increase exponentially. And we could be seeing some incredibly, I wouldn't say succulent, but shit, I already said succulent. And I'm very glad that I'm going to be alive to see that, to see what we can do in the image creation process. By the way, go see Gravity.
That is actually developed something because camera and slapped it on a piece of plywood and ran it through the woods. They came up with a whole new way of that was stupid low-tech stuff. It was crazy. The shooting was a mess, but just the very act of that, they changed film. And I don't think digital does that. T2 maybe the last time that happened.
I wouldn't say that. I think there are still limitations to what digital can do, but there are still people with the innovation who overcome those limitations. It's a medium. It doesn't stop the development once we get to a certain point.
I'd suggest the last time digital really affected filmmaking in that sort of way, I'd suggest probably like the sort of, I don't know which one film was first, but the Sin City type ones, the one that was entirely green screen, and they tried to get a person with his face as the surroundings, but to be stylized.
Like the big special effects story this year was all about that. Like there was a lot of skull, which is we haven't seen this lesbian love story. It's quite explicit, and they got around making what would be pornography, like legally, and not being valued, but legally classified as porn in the United States by using appliances, makeup appliances on that, so that they were not quite doing what it looked like you thought they were doing, at least allegedly. And that was, like, that's an eBay, how they do that story this year in movies, and it's about a fairly low technique.
That makes sense. You can show real big everybody's are fine. Show fake big everybody's happy.
The thing with effects is when they work, like CGI, for example, really works well in period pieces. For example, in Zodiac, they use CGI extensively to add period detail, remove detail, and so forth. CGI works well like that. The problem with CGI is that because it's something that you can just have a bunch of animators do, and then they just send it back to you, I get the impression that CGI can be used as a lot of lazy shortcutting, just for practical effects, and also a bit of safety and things like that. Distracting when I watch a movie and there's CGI 5. CGI 5 has never ever looked good.
CGI blood.
Yeah, I was CGI blood. Whenever I see CGI blood, I'm always distracted by it. And I think the reason they started using CGI blood so extensively is because they're too lazy to shoot a separate tape for TV edits, so they'll just do a version of the TV edit where they'll take the effect out, but they'll get rid of it. They're having reports of directors literally doing that, like, oh, something's in shot, we'll just send the effect guys to digitally erase it out.
There was the CGI snow and the Desolation of Smog in Lake Town. Really bothered me.
But what about the CGI 5 in Desolation of Smoke? That was good. Snob!
It's not my side of the You're not a Jason Statham.
Okay, anything for sci-fi guy or for the group?
This guy's been trying to ask a question real hard.
Yes. I wanted to ask a question for the whole group. Has there ever been like a media, I mean not me, but anything you reviewed, you like, oh my god, this is gonna be horrible, I can't wait to rip it apart. But after you watched it and took down notes, you're like, you know what, this is not actually bad, but actually pretty good. It's happened to me when I like reviews and such. And has that ever happened to you? You looked ready to rip something apart, and it was actually pretty good.
Come to appreciate it after you.
Yeah, after you just like you think you're gonna rip it apart, but yet you're like, wow, this is actually a very good like movie or television show.
No, I don't like the movie and still make fun of it or hate it.
I mean, you still make fun of it, but you're like, wow, this is actually pretty good. I jokes aside, it's a good movie.
Like I said, there's movies that I like that there's a lot of room to make fun of that I do reviews of. And then movies that I genuinely just hate to do a review of. But I don't think I've ever that one has ever won me over midway through. Not yet.
Early last year, when Fast and Furious 6 came out, I was thinking of doing a review of Talk, because I had that for ages. But then I was researching it, and the director was like, yeah, we made the stupidest movie possible, because I hate the Fast and Furious movies, but the guy who produced the Fast and Furious movies was working on a movie that's basically the Fast and Furious with motorcycles. I'm going to make the dumbest movie ever. So basically, Talk is a massive inside joke. Just watching it with that knowledge, I was like, I can't make fun of it because it knows it's being incredibly dumb. But it puts a giant product placement for Mountain Dew and Pepsi on either side of the fight scene where two girls are cheating it out using motorbikes as like weapons.
I have like the opposite straight up for a movie that I'm actually filming a review of while I'm here, and that's Myra Breckenridge. Thank you. I started out thinking it was okay. I thought it was ridiculous and terrible, but not too, offensively horrible. But then I listened to the director's commentary, and right now I want the director to die in a fire. I actually lied to rewatching the commentary.
I watch stuff I like all the time because my show is essentially a riff show. It's a riff show done by a really snooty, pretentious character, and it's kind of written jokingly from that point of view. But there was one where I remember not liking it when I was a lot younger, and then I did it again for the show. It was the Amy Kaufman movie Heartbeats, and I watched it again and was like, wow, I actually find this really charming. I was like, this kind of plays with a lot of different cliches of romantic films, but it does it with robots. And their sidekick is literally named comic relief bot, and you guys I'm enjoying the hell out of this. So off the top of my head, yeah.
I'm so glad this is on tape. I don't know what was wrong with me when I reviewed Rango negatively. Yeah. It's an animated movie, Johnny Depp is a gecko. Western is the last remotely decent he did. And that movie, when I first saw it. And I watched it again a year later and said, what the fuck was wrong with me? This is fun.
it's all a matter of the intent with the review. Doing it for entertainment, okay. And I did that with documentary reviews because you go into it, you're looking for something to tear apart. But the series we're doing now, I'm not looking to be won over, I'm not looking to be hated. It's just I let the movie do what it is, and then I try to build from there. If it's a bad one, I'm not going with that. I guess that was good one, but you have to find an angle to work with here. You can't go at it going, okay, this is terrible, but it's all the intent of what you're doing for the show.
Anything else for sci-fi guy or for good?
I just saw the trailer for yesterday. I'm actually a little intrigued by that one. There's one more movie put out this year. I'm like, well, more than curiosity. Maybe that is tomorrow. Other than Thursday,
Anyone for Leon Thomas or the group?
So, sorry, I know I'm really rude. Do any of y'all ever, like, look back at your old reviews? And if so, in what context?
Shane.
Was this shot at the bottom of the well?
Yeah.
Well, I was struck.
I genuinely hate my first episode because this was coming off. The first episode I think was like right after I stopped doing marketing, and I had that sort of let's make jokes a little mindset. And it's the only episode I think of where I actually attempted to be mildly humorous, and I just hated it so much. So that I wish I could just read that episode and get out all whether they want or not.
Most of the time when I rewatch old episodes, it's just to remind myself that I can actually complete something. I can actually, usually one problem ending, I'll just watch an old episode and remind myself, okay, this is my style. I can actually complete something and export it because it's just, editing is a very long process. It's very demoralizing when you have to watch something over and over again. So it's usually just to remind myself of it.
Yeah, with my very first one, it was awful, and it's not just because I didn't have a style in it, because I was working for Cam, and my getting software is Camtasia, which is not intended to be used for video. It was just complicated. What I actually managed to do was going back to those, I thought, like, okay, I made all these screw-ups. Let me do a little commentary and tell everybody, here's all the shit I did wrong. Don't do this. I actually tried to turn around and make something useful out of it.
I could never do a commentary on an old episode. That means I'd have to watch it. I don't rewatch, with the exception of like a lot of the midnight screenings, I don't really rewatch a lot of my stuff, but definitely not my older stuff. I don't. Like, I wouldn't even do like a remake or a review of it because I'd be terrified that people would watch the original out of curiosity.
My older stuff, some people fans of that, but there are some that I'm just handful of barrels. Just a little bit, especially some of the really, really early stuff where, I was very green. I was still asking Windows Movie Maker. No, really. And I was doing that longer than you might with the snacks.
We were teasing about it.
Yeah, you might notice the immediate jump in quality once I moved to Vegas. Surprise! And once I decided to move to the ATV, you realize that all the changes come about 3 months after I bought the software and terrified of me using it. And then I was like, oh, what did you use in the first place? Just said, get.
I basically go back and while, my equipment and my actual deliveries and my editing has scripts right there, I still generally think that like the script was like, I think that the joke is usually still material there, but definitely just as a reminder of that come a long way and still have very good road.
I pretty much, if I look back at my stuff, I have a memory like so it's like watching it sort of with a clean pair of eyes. So I'm really surprised at what parts of it work, what don't work. And it's stuff that I feel don't work, it's just generally loading for the episode left over from when I edited it. It's usually okay-ish. I'm going to have to rewatch Left Behind because, not because of the sequels, but because of the Nicolas Cage remakes. I'm going to remake my episode.
Sweet.
You didn't hear that he was starring in the
No, I never going to remake the episode.
Or Mask.
As you said.
Masochism. I don't know an answer to that.
Sorry. Well, I do know that recently Mr. Banks has come out. This is Leon. Are you when something about maybe are you going to analyze how trying to actually get the rights to their comics was very difficult during that time frame, and how you guys compare between what movie shows and what history shows?
Well, I haven't seen that one just yet, but I understand. But I mean, I don't think it's a big secret that the Disney version of this Disney film and the acceptance of history so I might do it for that reason, although it is somehow sort of takes away something that I try to be sort of unprofessional in my opinion. But it's definitely something I'm going to do.
Yeah, because I have seen Mr. Banks. I did a video on it. I would say that, as you said, it's a Disney-fied version about the production of a Disney movie, and then people are complaining about the fact that it's Disney-fied. No shit show. But when it comes to America, there's a company that was really like enthusiastic. Like Leo Travis was a feminist role model, and Walt Disney was evil. He was Hitler. Well, that doesn't seem like it's deliberate assassination for like prestige or season at all. The movie's fine. It's okay. It's a likable enough movie, but even if you're watching it, you know it's a sweetened version of the event that you can get half. Okay. To be honest, when I was doing my research, it was fake to a point. That's the thing about it. It's fake to a point, but always to an extent. I mean, I'm surprised that some of the stuff that you get away from Johnny in the movie is that what did the actor does? He does smoke, he does drink, that really, and he gets pissed off at one point. He's not entirely there, but he gets pissed off at several points in that movie, slams down the phone on the other cameras, which you wouldn't expect in a completely Disney-fied movie. So I don't think the edges have been taken off.
Recognition of her that they were to Walt Disney. In terms of like making the characters more palatable to audiences. Because for some kids, not right Walt Disney, he's maybe a little less for commercial than he looks in real life. Where they're good enough, he's kind of fabrics, he's like a shark in the eccentric, and in real life, she's a lunatic.
There you go, the backstory.
Yeah.
Can I ask this question for a specific people?
Okay.
For Kyle, Amanda, and Brad, given the subject matter of the material you reviewed, what has been the most awkward script you've ever heard?
Awkward.
I don't know if I've ever really been awkward. It's just stuff that I've been used to watching for the past 30 years. I do that every. That's how I wake up. That's how I wake my neighbors up too. I mean, like there's been scripts that I've been proud of, there's been scripts I haven't, but in terms of being awkward, but no, not really.
I got two I can think of. One of them is the one that I had to pull from Bullet because they were angry. And that was Forgive Me for Raping You, about just 4 short films about Catholics raping women and murdering them. And I had to abandon my usual chronological reviews for that one to a certain extent, because he pretty much does the same thing over and over and over again. And it was a little bit annoying. Worse for the woman. But thanks for Brad for appearing in that one, Sadie Stan. Yeah. The other one was, it's not open tentative yet, it's For the Dead Could Die. And that one was the most soul-destroying experience I've ever had trying to make something funny. And I should have stopped after 40 minutes rather than stretching to 55. Yeah.
That is a soul-crushing film.
Yes?
It's a soul-crushing film.
For me, the most awkward ones are the ones that are no longer online. For reasons that I don't want to repeat.
I went to the film, so I had a counterpart on here outside of the reviews. And I want to know if in doing work with that on where to despise him as much as I have as a person.
Partly because I think that his own persona is as much part of his films as the films are, and partially because I kind of like people with opinions. I kind of admire him for just being his own awful self. So I cannot hate Art here, especially because he does know how to invent articles in a way that I found meaningful. Like the Melancholy episode I did. It was basically, I agree with his portrayal of depression because it mirrored my own experience so well. And I have respect him for having the guts to go to that place, honestly. The Nazi comments, I'll just say, yeah. He's my favorite awful human being.
This is best for comment. You did Ratatouille. You haven't really done any bad animation films. Have you done really more from Video Guido or anything like that in the future? Or am I just not meant to the societies and they happen?
For band music, yeah, I haven't really focused on it. The funny thing about band music down and family films and all that, band music down generally tends to be stuff that I tend to watch myself. So I don't go out my way to see a lot of animated band movies and all that, so when I do it's kind of a rare occasion. That being said, I do have a copy of Food Fight. And it is in the review file, and it doesn't get the first, and maybe I might. But yeah, I have reviewed some terrible animated movies on Projector, Top Cat. Seriously, that was one of the worst experiences I've ever had in the cinema. Me and my friend John, my poor uni friend John, who I took to all these movies whilst I was at uni, we both sat in the cinema. This is one of the last screens of this movie. I had put this on for as long as possible. We just both sat in the chair like this. We found ourselves slumping continuously. Just the other day, I had to make a choice between whether or not I had to see the Harry Hill movie or Moshi Monsters movie.
He's trying to take me into Harry Hill movie.
I was joking about that. Turns out because that movie was worse than I was expecting. Which was amazing.
Comments on bad animation. Last night, me and my wife watched this awful movie. We got it from Amazon on the watching live thing. And okay, The Silver Circle. It's like the most bad shit, Ron Paul worshipping and terrible animated movie you'll ever see. It's about the power of silver dollars and how they can defeat the government.
One more question.
For us aspiring internet reviewers like yourself, what advice would you give for getting word out about our
That's so true. I mean, not true.
make friends with other reviewers who are bigger or smaller or the same sort of review level as you, because for a big chunk of time, they're going to be your biggest single audience. Make friends with them. Tom says we're now going to go, so you can kill him if you want.